the government wanted to, as I said during my closing arguments, be greedy. And they charged counts they couldn't win and that they shouldn't have. And now, and not just, as to Mr. Kelly, but obviously the co-defendants. So I wouldn't imagine they're celebrating right now, and they shouldn't be. They should go back and figure out, whether their approach to this case was the right one. So this, again, obviously, it's not, we're not celebrating a win entirely, but we are happy that the jury really did look at each count. And as I said in my closing arguments, each count counts. They did their job, and we ended up with 7 not guilty counts in a 13 count, right? Seven?
Yeah.
Seven not guilty counts in a 13 count indictment. So.
Yes.
Listen, Mr. Kelly is used to bad news. He has a 30-year sentence, which is egregious and excessive in my view, out of New York in a case that never should have been charged the way it was charged. So, he's still got many fights to fight. But what he did say is that he had a sense of relief that this particular case was not in the future, it was in the past now. And he had a sense of relief, and that probably would have been whatever way it came out, but I think he is relieved to have this behind him. Yeah, yes, of course. We have some issues that we believe are appealable issues, meritorious appealable issues. I don't know that I'm ready to talk about all of them, but there's a couple that come to mind. So. I can't speak to what they will do there, but they got their guilty. They got it. They got the guilty verdicts on the first 3 counts of this indictment, which is the child pornography counts. So I'm not exactly sure what they'd want to go forward on, but we'll find out. We'll find out. We'll take them. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Well, obviously, incredibly. So. The jury did not believe Chuck Freeman. The jury did not believe Lisa Allen. The jury did not, did I say that? Lisa Van Allen, right. The jury did not believe Tracy. The jury did not accept that you could charge an indictment and not even bring a witness in, that being Brittany, which was, really offensive in my view. You're going to charge someone with serious offenses that carry serious time, and you don't even think you have to bring that witness in to tell what happened. So those are all, to me, good signs, but credibility was everything. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how the government rolls. That's how they roll. They don't even believe in their own evidence, so they need to put pressure on other people to try to get them to flip. That's exactly what happened, and I'm glad they got it. That didn't work out for them. Well, yes, R. Kelly has been prosecuted in the media since 2000. Since really Surviving R. Kelly, it's been a nonstop proposition. And Surviving R. Kelly is really the reason there were these federal prosecutions, where the federal governments have really, and I don't know that people understand how creative and how aggressive the charging has been to get around statutes of limitations here, and that was all driven by Surviving R. Kelly. So I don't know. I guess the power of the media is very strong. The problem is that Surviving R. Kelly, as you all realize, probably if you've ever seen it, is that the stars of Surviving R. Kelly, one of them, Lisa Van Allen, was found not credible once you brought her into court. Andrea Kelly, who was, not a witness in this case, but she certainly was mentioned in, I would say, unflattering light throughout this trial. She was one of the big stars of Surviving R. Kelly. So, it should go to show you these docuseries, it's not the same as a court of law in the adversarial process.
And you had mentioned that your client was injured.
Yeah, he had even before he left the MDC in Brooklyn, he had injured his leg, and I don't know exactly how. As you may have noticed, he's kind of been limping in and out of the courtroom here and there. And it hasn't really gotten better, so we're hoping that he doesn't have to make the long trip back to New York for the restitution hearing, which is going to be next.
You mentioned that he said he feels relief that this
Yeah.
case is behind him.
Yeah.
Did he mention
So, so listen, I'm not going to talk about my, those types of conversations I have with my client. You can come to sentencing and judge for yourself, because I'm sure he will. Well, I'm not sure, but he may have something to say there. I will say this about my client, and I think it's often overlooked, and I begged the jury to remember that he's a human being, and I think they did. This is a man who had a very, very difficult childhood and had incredible trauma that was never resolved because he became a superstar very young, and there were not people surrounding him that wanted to get him the help to treat the trauma that he had. Okay, and so I think we can't lose sight of that going into a sentencing hearing. It was something I emphasized in New York. So, I think there's going to be a sentencing hearing here, obviously, and there'll be more to say about those things.
Can you, very confused, I'd asked the U.S. Attorney's Office and they can't tell me. These counts, they run consecutively. They're like at least 10-year minimum.
You talking about the 1, 2, 3? Well, our position is no. I'm sure the government will have an argument. I have not. I don't know if it's discretionary. I haven't done the research entirely into whether or not it's certainly not mandatory. Okay. Yeah, it's certainly not mandatory. At best, it's discretionary, and we would be arguing that they should not be stacked. Of course, we are talking about the same victim, right? Jane. In fact, one of the inducement counts was also Jane. So, you're really talking about this one person who everyone, heard in court. And I think that will play a role in how this all shakes out in sentencing. Well, it hasn't been set yet. I don't think. All right. Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is, go ahead.
Ashley Cohen. Yeah. L-E-Y, yeah, C-O-H-E-N.
And Diane O'Connell, Diane with one N, O'Connell, O''Connell.
Thank you.
Yes.
Please do.